All right. Courage to Change. Matt Malloy, Brian Wright. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. So I just wanted to take this time to talk about who I like to see us interview.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see us interview, or maybe even like follow up on?
I don't know. Maybe I was thinking we could holler at Stephen Washington.
Yeah. Stephen, he's back with us. He just came back from Arizona.
Yeah.
And I know he's 30 days. He's 30 days sober. He's back on the horse, and he's an interesting guy. I live with him in sober living. Did you live with him in sober living? Yeah. Okay. So he's a cool guy to like. We want to connect with and see maybe what's his triggers. Like talk about why he struggles. What's the root of the reason why he struggles. And I know briefly after talking to him just a few nights ago, he was like, like all of us, we have issues with trust. Yeah, trusting people. So another guy I'd like to see us interview is Joe Pello, just Pello House.
Yeah.
I met him for the first time officially at the Storm luncheon, second annual luncheon. Pretty nice guy. He gave me his card. I'd like to sit down and talk to him and discuss the whole Pello movement. Pello House movement. And know a guy, Drew Simmons, that's a product of the Pello House sober living, and he's a real interesting guy. And his wife actually, or his girlfriend actually, just won a UFC fight in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
like
wild.
Yeah. So I like to talk to him about him too as well, about that. That guy's coming up. Another guy I like to interview is Stephen Link out of Norman. He was suggested by Devin Klein and Brad Armstrong.
Yeah.
And he's got a powerful story. Billy Bates is coming up. Got Billy Bates. That's huge. Trying to sit down with him on Sunday. And Rick Cooper.
Yeah.
He's a guy that stands out when he's sober. I see the potential in him,
right.
To be so useful to the recovery world and sober living world. And I like to sit down with him, of course, and Chilton Boss, and see what it is with those type guys, their relationship, and the triggers. Once again, the triggers and what takes them back out.
Yeah.
And he's actually willing to sit down with us, and I'm looking forward to that. Excited for that. Another guy or girl I like to sit down with that should be coming up in the future is Shanita Jefferson. She's a product of Remerge. She just got her undergrads. I'm not sure where, but I like to sit down and talk to her about her journey on the road to recovery. Also, there's Dale Hopper. Yeah, Dale Hopper. That's my guy right there. Yeah. So I live with him in sober living.
Me too.
Yeah. So I like to listen, check Dale out, see where he's at in life. And I know. Last I spoke with him just a couple days ago. He's doing weekends and serving out his amends.
I think it's over, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm not 100% certain, but.
And you said he's got a new job.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool, man. And when I last saw him, I did recognize a different look in his eye.
Yeah.
And some more people I like to look forward to interviewing is Stacy Curtis. She's got a chain of sober living houses. So
she's involved with Storm too, isn't she?
Yeah. She's affiliated with Storm and Nitsa Chapel.
Jed and all them.
Yeah, Jed Chapel. Like to sit down with him. He's busy, super busy. So we always hit and miss. But he's got a powerful story. Guy who's got he's been shot. He was shot 5 times by the police and died for a few seconds on the gurney for armed robbery, strong armed robbery back in the late 90s, and now is a CEO of OK City Youth Center here in Oklahoma City. He's just got a book published, and he's got a pardon by the governor for his charges. So that's the type of highly influential guys that you want to talk to, you want to sit down with and discuss, like what does your journey look like, and so you could be, reach out to other people and attract more people to recovery, right. and bring more people, give people a different version of what recovery looks like and what spirituality looks like. Yeah. And so another guy I like to sit down with is Lance Lang. Lance Lang out of HIA. And for obvious reasons, Night of Hope is coming up the 6th, I think. Night of Hope is coming up tomorrow night. Yeah. And I hope to sit down and corner Lance Lang and see when we can sit down and schedule an interview. Yeah. And I love what he's doing, love what he represents, love what he's about. He also he's another one of those guys that started, is the, pretty much the founder of HIA and has a book out about his life and struggled, his journey in recovery, struggling with opiates. There's so many more. There's so many more people that we want to reach out to and sit down with if we can find the time and scheduling and stuff. But it's all in God's time. I know you called me up or you text me, yeah. And you had a question for me. Yeah. What was that question?
When you first get sober, the question's pretty simple, or the answers are pretty simple to the question I'm going to ask. But at 3 years or almost 2 years sober, my mentor asked me the other day, he's like, so today, what are you powerless over in your life that causes unmanageability today? Right. Sober. And I don't know. For me, it's money and relationship. And then just emotions, stuff like that. Right. So I just wanted to reach out. I reached out to you and probably 3 other guys, in recovery, and asked them the same question. And
what were the answers before I answer?
Man, Brandon was. I always reach out to Brandon. I love Brandon Collins.
Oh, I love Brandon too.
Yeah,
man.
Brandon said, man, he gave me a whole list of stuff he's powerless over. You know what I mean? Like he's super solution based, and anytime you ask him a question, he's real honest. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's super transparent.
Yeah, he's a real deal.
Yeah. And he said emotions, finances, relationships. You know what I mean? He's powerless over everything. Right. And I am too, if I get real honest, to a degree. But like the question for me, it's a lot harder though, because whenever you put unmanageability, what is unmanageable to me? You know what I'm saying? From your perspective, there's probably a lot of things that are unmanageable, right. But in my mind, I'm managing fine. You know what I'm saying? Just like when I was using. So that's where the question. That's why I have to ask other people to get a gauge of where they're at. You know what I mean? To see whether I'm being honest with myself or not.
Right. That's good stuff. Yeah, that's good stuff because but that's how it works. We need another perspective. Yeah. Of what a manageability and powerlessness looks like in recovery, and to see, like you said, to see where we're at. And I think like when you text me that question, I was like, that's huge. That's a good question. And if I was to answer that, I've already told you, other people's perceptions of me. Yeah. I'm still I'm powerless over my thoughts. You know, when I'm thinking about how other people think about me, or what significance, I'm powerless over it. The grass always looks greener over there.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still having a problem, being okay with right here.
Right.
You know, because it's still, I always looks better over there. Everything looks better over there. Yeah. And even though if I take the time and I get God centered, then I'm able to be grateful for where I'm at. Yeah. But it takes once again it takes a lot of soul searching and inventory spot checking, and like you know, having these conversations with you to see, you know, to be thankful and grateful for where I'm at. And I like when Stacy, the interview with Stacy, when she was talking about having a working relationship with God. Yeah. And that's what it's about for me today, in order to one, be aware of what I'm powerless over and the lies that my brain tells me. When I'm out in the sober living world, like sometimes, you know, I compare where I'm at in my sobriety to other people's sobriety. Right. And some people with less time and
with more things
have more things. Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute, bro. Right. Like, I put in more work, you know. That's the lie that I tell myself to make it okay.
It's a sense of entitlement.
Yeah. A sense of entitlement. And I'm not a victim, but I could easily fall back into that victim mentality in sobriety if I don't do the inside work. Yeah. And so it was so cool that you asked me that, and you know, and it made me assess where I'm at. Right. You know, and I appreciate you for that. And that's what the beautiful thing about the fellowship is like, we hold each other accountable. Yeah. And we do life together. Right. When we get uncomfortable and put ourselves in uncomfortable situations and have these adult conversations. Right. And but I'd also like to introduce a concept that I got from Andrew. I derived from Andrew Salush, who's another one of those guys, highly influential guys in recovery, and he talked about the tunnel. Yeah. And so I mentioned it before in a video way back, but I didn't get in depth with it. But the tunnel for me is, and and for Andrew, is when we're in a dark place, and in this dark place, in this dark tunnel, we get bumps and bruises. We can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. We get nicks and scars. We get scrapes, and we're trudging along in this tunnel that has rough terrain. It's dark and it's cold and it's painful, and sometimes we want to quit. And we lie to ourselves and say that we're never going to get out of this tunnel. Right. And this is what a recovery looks like for me. And I love Andrew for mentioning this to me that day. But we get right with God. We develop a relationship with God, and we rely on God's power to carry us the full length, to when we start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And then once we get out of the tunnel, we start noticing those nicks and those scars and those scrapes and those deep wounds. Some of them we've been in that tunnel so long, some of them have healed, and but some of them are still fresh. And then what happens is a pathway is revealed, and then once we work on our relationship with God, we realize that instead of those scars that we don't want to show people, those deep wounds and you know, like the scars on our heart when we've been harmed by in that tunnel, we look at them as frailties or deformities when we come out, you know, in daylight. When we get further along on the pathway, we notice that these scars are patches of valor. You know, they're like badges of honor. right? Because we made it through that tunnel.
Right.
And now, because we made it through that tunnel, we're able to be useful to somebody else that's back in that tunnel, on their way, working their way out of that tunnel.
Right.
But then we keep walking down this pathway, and then we start looking at the ground, and we start seeing shiny things that we want to pick up, right? And then some of these things that we think that we need, that's going to help the healing process, we want to hold on to. But God, if we're working or have a working relationship with God, God reveals to us that He's showing these things that we want to pick up and hold on to. They're weighing us down, and we need to put them back down, right? And then, but some things, God leaves on that we notice on the pathway that we pick up, we can use, and God reveals to us that we can use that later on down the road in order to help that next guy that's back in the tunnel. And then, so as we're getting further along in our sobriety, we're doing the work, and we're spot checking, and we're doing the inventory, and we're working on the inside stuff, and we're gaining spiritual maturity. Then a well appears, right? And in that well, it's a well that is that's filled with nourishing water, spiritual water that's gonna supply all of our spiritual needs, and also be useful for the people that are back there in the tunnel. And so my question for you and for myself daily is, what's in my well?
Right.
You know, what is somebody going to draw? What type of water is somebody going to draw from our well?
Right.
And if I'm doing the work, it's going to be fruitful. You know what I mean? It's going to be nourishing.
Right.
And that's how I like to look at my recovery. It's like, now after coming out of that tunnel, after looking at all your wounds, and you know the healed, and recognizing them as courage, you know, badges of honor and valor, and being of useful. Now, what's in my well? What can I give back? So that, you know, chop wood and carry water. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah. So we appreciate your likes, and we appreciate the followers, and reach out to us. And if there's anyone out there that wants to share their story with Courage to Change, hit myself or Matt up and Messenger. We love to contact you, especially if you're in the OKC metropolitan area. And we're also open for live live interviews.
Right.
So that concludes this. Unless you got anything for the people, okay. So that ends this little video with me and Matt. We appreciate your support. As always, grace and peace until the next time.